All right, like I said, we've got this call recorded today. Again, my name is Pharmacist Keith. I am with part of Brandy's team, so I welcome all of you guys on the call today. First of all, I want everybody to, if you don't mind, to say some prayers for Brandy and Doc as they travel out of the country. Make sure everybody stays safe. But in the meantime, let's get this call off and running. Like I said, this week, over the next few days, probably into next week as well, we're going to be going into a little bit of training for longevity in the business that we're in. As you guys always hear me say that you need to treat this business as a profession, and part of treating this as a profession is the training. So I want to congratulate everybody on your decision to join longevity. Of course, you're going to love the freedom and flexibility that come from being a business owner in this industry. And I hope that this training that I'm going to be conducting over the next week or so serves as a roadmap that will lead you from where you are today to accomplish your goals. Now, within this training, I'm going to walk you through the process of building a successful network marketing business in a simple, easy to follow, step-by-step format. In addition to learning the basic concepts and techniques of building a successful business, you're also going to hear some different life lessons and stories along the way. Now, as you get started, I want to encourage you to be coachable and to open your mind to new ways of doing business. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned in my life is that if you want to be successful, the smartest thing you can do is learn from those who are successful, and then go out and apply what you've learned what you've learned in the most excellent way that you can. Now, because my desire to learn from the best from the time I got started, I've collected all kinds of information and all kinds of training that I kind of put together. But you know, I've looked at some of the most successful people in the industry, and I've asked them, you know, what it was that they've done to get to where they are. And that's kind of what I want to share with you a little bit. And one of the main things I've learned is the role of duplication. Now, I want to emphasize this point. If you're going to build a large organization of business partners, you must accept the concept that duplication is going to play a major role in your ultimate success. Even way back, right out of high school, when I joined the phone company, duplication is something they even stressed. I mean, we had, I think it was a 6-week training program where they taught you everything they wanted you to say and do according to their way to be duplicatable, to be more of a success for their company. And of course, customer service at that time was one of the biggest things that they emphasized. But this entire training process that I'm going to walk you through is going to be kind of a cycle of duplication. Duplication is going to be at the core of everything I talk to you about. And it's something that I've followed now, certainly since I really came onto this business full-time effort back in January. You know, I'm going to take you through one step at a time as you journey through this training. We're going to go through each step, you know, one at a time, and then I'm going to show you how you can go out and apply what you've learned as you begin to develop your business. You're going to want to teach this system to each and every new business partner that you bring in. And last, you want to be able to train your business partners how to teach their business partners to do the same thing. That's why it's a cycle of duplication. It's just a simple step-by-step way of building the business. So I'm going to encourage you in the future, on these future podcasts and calls in the morning, to come prepared with some paper and a pencil. Like I said, I'm going to attempt to record these so you can go back and play them again and again and again over time. But what I'm kind of going to do is I'm going to take you through some steps. The first step is going to be starting your business. This is where you're going to learn some 10 important activities that you need to complete and get your business started correctly. Step 2, I'm going to talk about inviting people. This is where you're going to be taught what to say to those people that you want to invite into your business. And step 3 is titled Introduce the Business. In this step, you're going to discover how to effectively introduce your business to other people. And step 4 is to determine their interest. In this step, you're going to find out how to determine people's interest in learning more about your business and the products that you have to offer. And then step 5 is going to be gain a positive decision. And just like it sounds, it's this step where you're going to gain valuable insights as to how to get a positive decision from your prospects. And then step 6 is get your new partners started off correctly into the cycle of duplication. So that's kind of what we're going to be covering in a nutshell over the next few days. And I hope that you bring your business partners and cross-line partners into the training over the next few days. What I want to do today is I want to share something with you that I hope will keep you focused on personal objectives, and perhaps as you take this message back to your team, it's going to help keep them focused on their objectives too. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like you to go ahead and just stand up. Okay, stand up right now, wherever you're at. Of course, you're in your car. I don't suggest you do it, but just remember later when you're home. But if you're at home, in your office, or in your living room, or in your kitchen, just go ahead and stand up and face a specific direction in your home. Kind of like you're aiming at something 10 feet away. The unfortunate part of this is right now there's probably somebody out there listening on this call or on the podcast that I'm going to put up on this about this who's in a wheelchair and can't stand up. But they're still going to turn ahead. They're going to turn their wheelchair in a certain direction and aim 10 feet away. And conversely, there's people out there that's going to be on this call or on my podcast that are perfectly healthy who are just going to sit there and say, what's this guy trying to do? So anyhow, you know what's going to happen. As we go through this training, you're going to find that if you get involved and do the things that I ask you to do, then you're going to make some changes in your life. And we have to make changes if we want to get to where we want to go. So just work with me a little bit, and I can promise you that I'll reciprocate with you through the future trainings. Now here's what I want you to do. Okay, you're standing, you're facing a certain position, you've got a spot picked out 10 feet ahead. I want you to take 2 baby steps. Go straight ahead right now toward that objective. Now, I want you to turn just a little bit to the right, just 3 or 4 degrees, and take 2 more baby steps. Now, I want you to stop for a minute. I want you to project outward. Take a look at that 10-foot marker, ahead of you. The object or your target or your goal that you've picked, and stop and think about it. What happens if you continue traveling in the direction you're facing now, even though you're 2 or 3 degrees off course? You want a simple analogy? Let me paint an analogy here. Pretend you're steering a ship. You're leaving New York Harbor. You're underway to London. It's critical to be on course from the start. You can see where you can end up after just 3 or 4 degrees off center. Unfortunately, what happens, now I've got you 3 or 4 degrees off, and I want you to take 2 more steps forward. Now, if there's a piece of furniture in the way or whatever, I want you to get around it and continue heading off in that direction, whichever direction you're heading now. And again, I want you to now turn another 3 or 4 degrees to your right. Okay? And I want you to take another 2 or 3 steps. By the time I get you across the room to that 10-foot marker, you're going to be completely off course. Now, without adjusting, you're going to find that you're completely in the opposite direction from where you originally intended to go. Now, suppose for a moment that wasn't 10 feet. Suppose that represents the next 10 days. Suppose it represents the next 10 weeks of your life, or even the next 10 months of your life, or even the next 10 years of your life, or maybe even your lifetime achievement. You can see if we start together in the right direction and we stay on target, sure, we're going to have to make some adjustments along the line, just like you have to make adjustments to get around that furniture. But nobody goes in a perfectly straight line from point A to point B. But we've got to take an attitude, and you might want to jot this down: attack and adjust. It's that simple, okay? It's that simple of a principle. It's kind of like a guided missile or a torpedo trying to get to its ultimate destination. It's going to attack and adjust as it goes. You've got to attack and then adjust, and hope that kind of sets the framework of where we're at right here. Because what I want to do, I want to keep you on target. But ultimately, It's your time, it's your investment, and it's your life, and it's your business opportunity. What becomes of it is what you're going to make of it. I want to start you off with something so you probably have heard that it's 90% of all Americans are either dead or dead broke at age 65. Now, it doesn't come from Keith Abell. These statistics come from the U.S. Department of Health and Wellness. But I want you to think about this. In the richest country in the history of mankind, 90% of all Americans are either dead or dead broke at age 65. Now, my question is, if you want to be in that top 10%, or do you want to be in the bottom 90%? By the way, you can go ahead and sit back down now and relax in your chair or on the sofa. And I'm sorry I kind of left you standing there up at 45 degrees off target. I want you to do something else with me. I want you to kind of visualize. Pick that place on the wall again. We're going to put up an imaginary map on the wall. Let's say you've got about a 10 by 10 foot area on that wall. Now I want you to picture a river going through that map. Now let's move that river all the way over to the left-hand side so the river runs about 2 feet from the left edge of the map. In fact, let's make it 1 foot from the left edge of the map. Now, there are two separate areas on that map. 10% is on the left side and 90% is on the right side of the river. And we're going to call that river If-I-Woulda-Coulda-Shoulda River. Now you guys have all probably heard of that river before. You see, what's happening here on the left side, where we put 10% of the land, we're going to put 90% of the population. On the other side, we're going to put 10% of the people and let them enjoy 90% of what life has to offer. That's really how it works in life. You're going to find as you share and invest more time that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and the only way to escape that trap is to make an adjustment so you can get across the If-I-Woulda-Shoulda-Coulda River. Now let's talk about some differences here. The common denominator, the great equalizer, is we all only have 24 hours in a day. It's how we utilize those hours and what we do with those hours to make a difference in our life. Now, the left side of the river, let's go over there. Everybody's got a car. The people on the left side of the river, they all have cars. They've got the beaters and the trucks, the old beat-up cars, just basic transportation. They've got buy here, pay here, high interest rates. They've got regular loans with high interest rates. They got high insurance rates. They probably paid a high price for the car in the first place. They got high repair and high headaches. That's what it is. In some cases, that car has a value that if the transmission drops out of the car, the transmission repair is going to be more than what the car is worth. Now let's go over to the right side of the river. They don't drive cars over there. They drive automobiles. And if you don't know what the difference is, it's a couple of zeros behind the price tag. That's a small difference. But here's the big difference. On the right side of the river, they're driving the Cadillacs, the Mercedes and Jaguars, the Lexuses. Actually, they're driving what they can afford. They're driving whatever they want to drive. In many cases, they have a business arrangement or a lease or a business lease where a certain portion of that car and the insurance and a lot of the associated expenses are legally tax deductible. You know, when that Lexus needs an oil change, they send somebody by to the house, drop off a new Lexus in the driveway, pick up your car, and then they get it serviced. They treat you like $1 million. Which side of the river do you want to be on? Do you want to drive cars and have headaches and constantly putting more money in after more money? Or do you want to be on the right side and enjoy some advantages and really drive and make it an experience? Something enjoyable, not just basic transportation. Now I hear some of you say, Keith, what does this have to do with where we're going? Well, there's a story here. Let's talk about homes. People on the left side of the river, everybody's got to live somewhere, right? We need food, shelter, and clothing. Well, the people on the left side of the river are the people that rent the apartments and rent the homes. One thing I want to make clear, I don't want anybody to think I'm looking down and making these comments in a condescending way. I can assure you, wherever you are in life right now, I can relate to it fully because I've been there. I've been in your shoes. I've driven those beat-up cars. I've lived there, and I'm not going back. I've lived on the left side of the river. I've been there where the people live in the rental houses and the rental apartments. You can't even paint a room unless you get permission from somebody. You don't enjoy any tax advantages whatsoever. You have no appreciation. appreciation that took on the form of monetary appreciation, like in your home. You have no privacy. Many times we don't live where we want to live. We live where we have to do. What's it like on the other side of the river? You know what? In many cases, those people are living in the dream home that you promised your wife 20 years ago. They're living where they want to live. The house is either paid off in cash, or you know what? If there is a mortgage, they're deducting for the first couple of years, well over 90% of those payments, because you guys, most of those payments are comprised of interest. And many times, some of these multi-million-dollar homes, people do have mortgages because there's tax advantages and their CPA got them in such a situation. It's completely an interest-only loan. Why would they do that? Well, they would do that because they're not only enjoying the tax advantages, they're enjoying the appreciation of the value of the real estate itself. What about saving money? People on the left side of the river, they save some money. They save small amounts. They put it in a cigar box or maybe a cookie jar, or maybe they put it in a 0.9% interest earning savings account to go along with their checking account. But generally, they're not saving a lot of money. Their idea of saving money is paying an advance payment over and above the minimum on their credit card. So it's tough to get ahead because you lock yourself into a vicious cycle. On the other side of the river, where the top 10% live, we have investment counselors and professional money managers. We have investment real estate, commercial buildings, investment trusts, stocks and bonds, mutual funds, T-bills. The money is working 365 days a year, and it's working 24 hours a day. And like a gentleman named Gordon Gekko says, the money never sleeps. Why do I point this out and relate it to your situation? The truth is, regardless of what home-based business we're in, I doubt very seriously that you're going to create wealth with that business. I doubt that you're going to be one of those people that I love to talk to, the millionaires in this business that I've done some training with, who've made these millions of dollars. Many of them will make over $1 million a year. You could be one of the few. However, I think it's entirely possible for any one of you on this call to be able to work merely, just more effectively and just create an income through your own efforts to build an organization by introducing people to your business and make a small percentage of their growth and then have multiple streams of income. And then you get yourself out of debt, and then you make some investments and have that money work for you. And in that manner, using this formula, I think it's very possible for any one of you to become very wealthy. Now, can you see how the rich get richer and the poor get poor? Even if we talked about charity, everybody walks outside the Kmart. The guy's ringing the bell there for the Salvation Army at Christmas time. We put a couple bucks in the pot. Or somebody comes by the office and you give a donation, or you send 20 or 30 bucks to a telethon. Everybody's willing to help other people. Over on the right side of the river, they're making sizable, substantial contributions. They're building libraries and buildings. They're putting wings on hospitals. Or maybe they're just sending tens of thousands of dollars back to their alma mater, to the booster group. And that's all going for scholarships and helping people as well. But you know what? Under current IRS rulings, let's just take that $10,000 donation as an example. 80% of that donation is entirely tax deductible. It's a pretty nice way to make a contribution. And the spinoff is, you probably got some pretty good tickets on the 50-yard line for the football games. You probably have a private parking spot outside the stadium, as well as a private elevator to avoid the crowds. And you get to hang out with your friends and your business colleagues and really enjoy a game with a big buffet in the scholarship lounge for relaxing after the game. And you can see how the rich not only get richer, they've got a way to even enjoy life and have other people pay for it. It's no wonder the poor get poor. How about education? Everybody wants the kids to have the best possible education. On the left side of the river, I guess you're pretty much, grouped into schools according to their school zone for the public school system. And then maybe they might go to junior college or a state college after they graduate high school. Or maybe there's no money for kids to go to college of any type, so they have to look for grants for their advanced education. On the right side of the river, they start off with private education because private education, by and large, is better. When it's time to go off to college, they go where they want to go. They go where the best and brightest are. Or they go to the private schools, the specialized schools of their particular area of interest. And money's not a problem. And they go where they want to go, when they want to go. They go to an Ivy League school. The money's there. Want to go to the University of Miami? The money's there. You want to go to MIT for engineering, or want to go to a very good business school? The University of Chicago is not a problem. What about vacations? On the left side of the river, many times, if they want to enjoy a nice vacation, then it's taken in a timeshare for maybe 3 days and 2 nights. You know, a free round of golf, $100 is handed to you for sitting there and listening to the sales pitch. Or maybe you go and visit relatives down in Florida, and that's your vacation. You know, guys, many years, that's what I did. The sad thing is, many of us in this 9-to-5 JOB proposition, living on the left side of the river, are locked into a job where they can't even take that much vacation time, because you've got to be on the job for 2 years before you qualify for as little as 2 weeks vacation. Or after 10 years, you might qualify for 3 weeks. And even if you got more time off, you couldn't really afford it in the first place. The other problem is you might get your 2 weeks vacation, but all the people with seniority have taken all the summer days. You just can't go when you want. So what did they do on the right side of the river? Well, they go to Maui, or they go to Tahiti. If they wanted to go around the world, then they go around the world. Even if they're just going down to Miami or going to Fiji or Las Vegas, they probably find a way to mix business in with pleasure, and that's another tax incentive and another tax deduction. And again, the rich get richer, and you know what? When they travel first class, because they're saving a lot of that expenses that the people on the other side of the river aren't able to save. They're getting to take some tax deductions for it because they've mixed the business with pleasure. Can you see why we as a team, each of us as individuals, have to cross the If-I-Woulda-Coulda River? And when we cross it, we've got to cross it all the way. We can't go halfway onto one of those little islands out there, one of those islands called Someday Isle. We have to take some people with us, and then we have to change our life and our lifestyle, and we can change it dramatically. You're thinking, hey Keith, how do we get across the river? Well, there's lots of ways. I'll tell you, some of the younger people on this call, they get a good education and they go to the right school. Make sure you have the right name and the right connections, and you go into the corporate world. And you could be one of the magic few that progress right up to the top, and you know what? You'll be on the right side of the river. You'll be on the top 10%. Some of you might resort to crime, and I don't want to even dignify that comment, because as most of you know, I believe in some universal laws, and one of those universal laws is you reap what you sow. Franchises is another way to get across the river. It's worked for a lot of people. Unfortunately, it requires a lot of expertise. It requires the ability to pick the right franchise, read the marketplace, see what you believe the marketplace is leading towards, and pick the right franchise. But more importantly, to do a franchise requires a tremendous investment of capital. So franchise opportunity is just not available for most of us on the left side of the river. And there are some people that manage to marry their way across the river. So if you're single, well, maybe you can find that right man or that right woman, and hopefully there's love there, because as a basis for foundation of marriage, you've got to have love. And then plenty of money on the back end to back it up. You can also inherit the money, just literally wait for your grandfather to die and inherit a ton of money. The cold hard fact is, people now live longer. So suppose your grandfather needs special care and lives for another 30 years. There may not be any money left by the time that grandpa finally passes away. The difference is, I want you to make some money now. I want you to find a way to do it profitably and enjoyably, and I want to make a better life for my friends, a better life for the people that I encounter. There is a big difference in these two philosophies. How about winning the lottery? Sometimes that's people's retirement plan. At 65, I'm going to go to Las Vegas. I'm going to take all my retirement money. I'm going to let it ride. That's their 401k. With the lottery, it's 1 out of 16 million people. If you bought $2,340 worth of lottery tickets every week for the next 40 years, you've reduced the odds to still some ridiculously high number. One thing I mentioned, that winning the lottery, whether it's a $5 million or $10 million lottery, is by the time the government takes their cut, and by the time they share a lot of it with their family and friends, they reach a point where they find that they don't know too much about money, and they've squandered it all away. They don't know too much about the people that they pick in their life to help them with that money, and they've squandered it away. They don't know too much about empowering themselves, let alone investing. And basically the biggest thing is they won't change. Even though they've got a lot of money, there's a certain pattern in their life. You've seen the TV shows on about the lottery winners on TV, how they go broke shortly after winning the lottery. So you got to learn to think and act and become different to make the dramatic change in your life. To make that change, you must change. That's why if you don't have a big organization under you now, you're just starting out right now, maybe a little envious of somebody in the organization who's got thousands of people, let me assure you, if we took that person and put you in their place, in their organization, the organization will fall apart. The purpose of the training, the purpose of working together is so that you have the tools and the techniques currently, but more importantly, you develop the mindset and the confidence so you know how to plan, control, and direct people. So when you build an organization, you build an organization of strength. And when you make a change in your life, you make a change for the better. Remember this, if you're average and ordinary, you're going to have an average and ordinary life. When you look on your tombstone, yes, there's going to be a date when you were born, and then there's going to be a little hyphen or dash, and then there's going to be a date when you died. And that little hyphen or dash, that's your life. Most of you are like me, and you want to make something out of life. We want to leave a legacy. We want to make an imprint. We want to make a change. We want to make the world a better place. And we want to start making our personal life a better place. If you're no good to yourself, you're not going to be good to anybody else. And you can expand on that to your family and to your friends as well. But if you're going to be average and ordinary, if you're one of those people just sitting there while 90% of us are standing up at the beginning of this call, moving in a certain direction, you're probably going to find out that a body at rest tends to stay at rest. Our objective with the philosophy of attack and adjust is going to be to get in motion, because a body in motion tends to stay in motion. So we want to get up, we want to get moving, we want to learn to think big, to act big, to grow big, to become big, because that's the only way that we can make an impact, a big change, and make the big money. Hang on just a second, man, mute the call. All right, folks. Okay, are we unmuted? All right, can you guys hear me? That's interesting. And if anybody else is on the moderator line, can you hit *5 and unmute the line? There we go. Sorry about that. All right, anybody have any questions? All right. Well, I'm going to try to post up the audio from that, and it'll probably take me a couple hours, but I'll post the audio up on it if the audio turned out. And then we're going to start tomorrow with step 1. And we're going to work through this every day of the week. Of course, Dr. Duffy will be on her regular Wednesdays, but all the other days we're going to walk through those steps, I guess, over the next week and a half. So I hope everybody comes tomorrow and brings a pen and paper and gets ready to take some notes, because we're going to fly right through this thing, okay? And I would also suggest you to go to the training site, bestnetfund.com. That's bestnetfun.com. And look around on there. A lot of this information is going to be on that site that I'm going to cover. And especially, I believe I posted on that website emails that I'm sending out to my team. Send a different email out every day until they go through the entire training process. So I suggest you look at that as well and start sending those out to your new people. Get them trained. And feel free to use my training site. I built it for everybody because eventually all you guys are going to be in my downline when I hit that right rank level, okay? Best, B-E-S-T, net, N-E-T, fun, F-U-N, bestnetfun.com. It's the best fun on the internet. Alright guys, well, I'm going to let you go, and I look forward to getting this process started tomorrow, and hopefully the recording worked, and if it didn't, I'll try something different tomorrow. Talk to you guys soon.